Greetings, duelists. If this is your first time watching this video, or if you stumbled this upon your feed, congratulations. Um, you are about to witness a very interesting take on a very interesting strategy for this format. I guess a little bit of introduction before we begin. Um, my name is British Nexus. Um, I have been a duelist since 2010, but this is my first time recording a video on 2023. Um, I've always been interested in every format Yu-Gi-Oh has provided, and I felt like making content for this one was a very fitting choice because we're in a very interesting format. And I feel this is a format that is going to be very welcomed for a lot of players, but at the same time, it's going to get frustrating over time as more strategies unfold. But without further ado, I'll go along with the deck profile because this is probably the reason you're stumbling upon this video in the first place. I'm going to go through over the cards and then I'll go through the explanations. Visa Starfrost, Scareclaw Reinhardt, Scareclaw Acro, Scareclaw Astra, Scareclaw Balloon. The strategy I chose to showcase today is Scareclaw. I feel like Scareclaw is a very strong contender this format. Um, like there are many popular cards that people are going to try to play this format. The Scareclaw is like not as prone and weak to as other strategies. Cards that I'm thinking of are cards like Dimension Shifter, um, Dimensional Barrier, Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, uh, just to name a few. Book of Eclipse, um, the entire Kashtira archetype, which is very popular and very on people's radar right now. Uh, just to name like a few like strategies that are lingering about. Um, as I go on with the step profile, I'll explain why does Scareclaw have an advantage this format with popular strategies running around and decks running around. Uh, so these are the monsters, and yes, Visa Starfrost is an honorary Scareclaw monster. So that's 12. Um, so the other Scareclaw cards, I play Primitive Planet Rayphobia, Scareclaw Arrival, Scareclaw Defang, Scareclaw Splash, Scareclaw Twinsaw. These are the utility cards I'm using with the Scareclaw strategy. Um, After I go with the entire deck profile, I'll explain the ratios behind these Scareclaw utility cards. But um, other Scareclaw profiles are probably gonna have something very similar to this in their ratios. Now for another engine I'm playing alongside Scareclaws. I'm playing Scareclaw Kashtira. This is a Scareclaw by name, but as you'll see in a second, this is also another archetype. That being the Kashtira archetype. There's alongside Scareclaw Kashtira, I'm playing Unicorn, Raceheart, Fenrir. Um, as a lot of people already know, people who are like actually invested in this format or are trying to invest in this format, Scareclaw, I mean, Kashtira is a very popular strategy. is a strategy that is on a lot of people's radar. Um, a lot of people have different takes. Um, my take will be the following: Kashtira as an archetype is very, very fragile. I feel like it's basically a strategy that is very, very powerful in what it does, but it doesn't have a really oppressive way of dragging the game out. However, I feel like out of all the engines in the game that we have at the moment, Kashtira is a very, very strong engine. And one that you should consider for other strategies. In the case of the Scareclaw strategy, you have a linchpin, which is the Scareclaw Kashtira. This functions as both Scareclaw and Kashtira by name, which means it has a lot of utility with a lot of cards, including spell and traps that you already saw beforehand. Adding to that, it pretty much provides like a lot of backbone that Kashtira lacks, like a good grind game, a good follow up, more interruptions. Um, the weakness that Scareclaw has as a strategy is that it's very reliant on its normal summon. So having a lot of powerful extenders that helps to push through interruptions is very welcomed for Scareclaw. And Kashtira is an archetype that does that. Um, I'll later on do more brief explanations. I mean, more detailed, intricate explanations, as well as explanation of the ratios. That is for the Scareclaw monsters. For the Kashtira monsters. For the Kashtira spells, you have Pressure Planet, Birth, Theosis. Um, there's one third engine that I'm playing alongside these two. It's one that's very, very popular in Scareclaw already. And a lot of people should probably know by now. The strategy is adventure. So, Wandering Griffin Rider and 3 Enchantress. Before Power of the Elements format rolled around, the adventure engine was the most powerful engine like in the TCG for a very good reason. Uh, I feel like after the powerful hit that Power of the Element format decks received on the last TCG list, this one being of the February 13th one, it the ceiling of adventure rose up significantly to a point where it's an echelon upon strategies to look out for. Um, Another thing about to mention is that Scareclaw is an archetype that is super suited for the adventure engine because most of its normal summons uh, do not conflict with what adventure provides, uh, being the weakness of Rite of Aramesir. Adding to that, these are also serves as multiple extenders to reach Scareclaw's win condition. So alongside the adventure monsters, there is Fateful Adventure, Draco back the Rival Dragon, and Triple Rite of Aramesir. That's it for the adventure portion. Um, the last cards on this list are 7 cards. There are going to be 7 miscellaneous utility cards that pretty much um, filled a very important role on my list. Those cards are Triple Tactic Thrust, triple tactic talents, and infinite impermanence. Um, some people already know, but since we're in a very wide open format, uh, people are in the debate whether or not hand traps are popular in this format or they're going to be popular in this format. The general consensus are the talent cards. Um, the number one reason I play the talent cards in this deck is because this deck has a really high ceiling. And if your opponent respects it enough, they're going to try to hand trap you, which means that you can use these talent cards to siphon through your opponent's strategies um, and punish them for trying to hand trap you. Infinite Impermanence is my hand trap of choice because I do not want to play into talents. But at the same time, there are strategies in the game that are very oppressive if they go first and they are uncontested. So I figured that Infinite Permanence was the best of both worlds because it's an interruption, but it doesn't punish you for trying to interrupt your opponent turn one. Um, so that's it for the entire main deck. Um, I'll go with the extra deck next, and then I'll explain like more intricacy stuff. Um, okay, so extra deck. Scareclaw Rightheart, Scareclaw Tryhard, Link Spider, the Dark Charmer, Gloomy, also the Earth Charmer Immobile, um, a Nightmare Unicorn, Askeco Tucker, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, Stellar Wind Wolfrit, Kyubi Shinshin, the Virtual World, Bear on the Floor, and the last card on my list, Kashtira Heart. Okay, so I guess I'll go with the aesthetics explanations. Um, since I'm playing the Kashtira as an engine, I only the main purpose for it is having a solid win condition that pretty much freezes a lot of decks in the format, and Kashtira Heart being such. Um, it does have its drawbacks because it plays into the talent cards more than other disruptions that you have. However, against a lot of strategies, this card pretty much finishes the game just by its presence alone if it's uncontested. Bear at the Floor and the other two synchros, Scareclaw players already are aware of this. For those, but those who are not, and are trying to like learn from this strategy, uh, Visa Starfrost is a tuner, a level 6 tuner. The utility behind Visa Starfrost is mainly to link climb into your Scareclaw win condition. However, um, having synchros as an option uh, pretty much opens your deck to deal with all different sorts of interruptions, or makes a lot of different hands that you open with like a lot playable or a lot stronger, solidifying your board. Uh, these are interchangeable. I don't think these are needed at all. I haven't even summoned these in a while. I do think Bear on the Floor is a really solid card though, um, because it's basically an Omni-Negate, and you this deck has three different forms of Omni-Negates, which is really good and really powerful, which solidifies, which is another reason you should consider this like over something like Kashtira. Um, but at the same time, it also is a board breaker, and it's very easy to make. Uh, and for those who have already figured it out by now, you have a one card bar on the floor in one Scareclaw monster. Uh, so that's for the synchros. Explanation behind those. Um, Scareclaw Tryhard is the deck's win condition. Um, Everybody who's familiar with Scareclaw probably already has figured it out by now. But for those who are not, uh, if you go first or second and you manage to get Scareclaw Tryhard on the board and it's uncontested, you're already ahead in the game. Um, if you make it turn 0, it's basically a pseudo floodgate. Basically, it turns its level limit area B. For those who are not familiar with that card basically turns monsters into defense position, and this card is unaffected by monsters in defense position. Uh, Position changing isn't something really like powerful in a vacuum, but like as the game goes on and you have other interruptions, it's a really powerful effect because it makes it so they cannot run over their monsters unless they summon link monsters. And you'll see later on, as I'll keep explaining the deck profile, that there are ways to stop link monsters as well. So that's it for the explanation on Tryhard. The other cards are basically utility cards, like Underworld Goddess, Access Code, like all of these are basically utility. If you're playing Adventure, you have to place Link Spider because Link Spider makes it so you can bridge your Adventure extenders into your Scareclaw monsters. Tryhard's summoning condition is all 3 effect monsters. But it doesn't matter which 3. It doesn't have to be Scareclaw names. So turning the adventure token into Link Spider helps getting to Tryhard easier. So that's it for the main deck profile. I guess I'm going to make a separate segment explaining in thorough detail like experiences I've had with the deck since I started this format. For anybody tuning in, thank you for watching this video. I hope you have learned enough from this, and for slight forgiveness, this is a little bit rambly, but it is my first time, and I hope this has provided really good insight for you. And stay tuned for more videos like this one.